Well, it's not only a hybrid, this is a plug-in hybrid. It's also a medium-sized SUV with lots of value for money, a 7-year warranty as well. This stacks up as possibly a very good option for people who want a bit of electric range, but not leaving petrol power behind at the same time. This is the GWM Haval H6 GT PHEV. That's a huge name, but it's their plug-in hybrid medium SUV. It's the coupe styled one. This does stack up on paper as being a pretty interesting option. We've got a big electric driving range there that's claimed from GWM. We've got a lot of standard inclusions going on, a fairly attractive starting price, and we've also got a 7-year warranty here. So if you're looking for an electric car, but you don't want to fully give up on petrol power just yet, this could be a great option. Does it stack up? Does it work? Let's have a closer look. Adding plug-in hybrid power to the H6 GT does put another $8,000 on top of the current H6 GT asking price. So it goes from $45,990 drive away up to $53,990 drive away. For that bump in asking price, you do get a big bump in powertrain capability. The petrol engine is a 1.5 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder unit here, which is down from the 2 litre in the non-plug-in hybrid model. But it's matched to 2 electric motors for all-wheel drive, and you've got some big outputs here. So there's a 135 kilowatt electric motor at the rear and a 130 kilowatt motor at the front. Now add into the top there, you've got a 110 kilowatt and 230 Newton meter petrol engine. There's a lot of figures there, but the important one is combined outputs. We have a very high 321 kilowatts and 762 Newton meters there, which does give a claimed 0 to 100 dash time of 4.9 seconds, provided that you use the launch control function. Now that is very fast for a medium-sized SUV, and thankfully GWM has upgraded the brakes on this. So you've got 48mm 2-piston brakes on the front with a 340mm disc, and then there's 42mm single-piston stoppers at the rear. The battery in this hybrid H6 is a nickel cobalt manganese unit, which GWM refers to as ternary lithium. It's sourced from a subsidiary of GWM in China and is 35.4 kilowatt hours in size. Now this is enough to give a claimed 180 kilometer electric only driving range and a claimed overall driving range of more than 1000 Ks. Now these are impressive figures. However, that electric driving range is calculated through the more lenient NEDC testing cycle, and a real-world figure might be a bit lower. Now we aren't sure exactly what this is yet because we haven't yet been able to put that to the proper test, but we will soon in the future. However, it's very important to note that, quite literally, your mileage may vary in this case. The H6 GT plug-in hybrid has vehicle-to-load capability and can support DC charging up to 48 kilowatts. This gives the ability to go from 30 to 80% in 26 minutes, according to GWM, while a slower 6.6 kilowatt AC wall charger will be able to top that battery up from 0 to 100 in around 6 hours. Otherwise, standard equipment for this H6 GT plug-in hybrid is plentiful. You've got 8-way electric adjustment for the driver's seat and 4 for the front passenger seat. There's heating and ventilation up front, dual zone climate control, Comfort Tech suede leather seat trimming, and a microfiber leather trim on the steering wheel. There's also 19-inch black alloy wheels, an electric tailgate, a panoramic sunroof with blind, keyless entry, privacy glass, and LED lighting front and rear. The inside has a 12.3-inch infotainment display, there's a head-up display as well, and a push-button start, also a 10.5-inch digital instrument cluster in front of the driver. Now this plug-in hybrid powertrain is initially going to be available in this GT style H6. So you're trading a bit of boot space for style, I suppose. You've even got a little spoiler there on top. But if you do want a regular H6 with plug-in hybrid power, that is coming in the future. But for now, this is the option. And does it work? Well, in this initial drive, I've got to say, I've still got a lot of questions that need to be answered. In terms of electric power, we've got a lot there. We were sitting on the highway, pumping along there without any fuel being burnt. That is a good thing. But what's it like when that battery runs flat? I don't know 100% yet what that is like. So this is going to be a little bit in the future. I think we'll know more about this car, but initially it's got good value It seems well made. The driving experience, we'll learn a bit more about that as well as time goes on, but this is definitely worth consideration, especially for those people who want to go electric, but not 100%. This could be the perfect fit. Well, I've been driving this H6 plug-in hybrid now for a couple of hours, and to be honest, first thing off the bat, our driving experience has been limited to mostly highway driving and also mostly in an electric mode. We haven't had the opportunity yet to run this battery down completely and seeing what this H6 GT is like as a normal hybrid, I suppose you would call it. But I do have some thoughts and feedback on what I've experienced so far, even though there is still a few questions to be asked about this car. So firstly, ride quality. This car it's a fair bit heavier than a regular H6, and it's around the 2-ton mark, and you can certainly feel it at times. You do get a bit of jostling in the ride quality when you're going over bumps and that sort of thing. You'll feel that weight a little bit, but this is initial impressions, I do have to say. And another thing I'll notice is that the brake pedal feel probably isn't as good as I've had in other hybrids and plug-in hybrid vehicles. It's quite stiff and wooden. You do really need to push through it to get this thing to brake. It does have bigger brakes, thankfully, for all that extra weight and power that we have. So braking performance will be improved, but yeah, the braking feel, I think there is room for improvement there. But cruising along as a regular electric car, we've got electric power at the front and rear wheels. There's good responsiveness there. There's great torque. This thing does get off the line and boogie quite well. And it's also got a good amount of rolling acceleration on the highway and that sort of thing. You really don't feel like you need any more power. This thing feels properly quick actually at times. Now in terms of handling, the highway driving that we've done doesn't really give us much input there. So I'm going to put a pin in that until we have a bit more time with this car to see what it's like through the curves and under a bit of duress and that sort of thing. And at that same time, we're going to see what this car is like in terms of living with day to day as a hybrid vehicle. Now, one thing I do have to question is GWM's claim of 180 kilometers of electric driving range. That is an NEDC claim, not a WLTP claim. And for those who aren't in the know with those, NEDC is normally a much higher figure and generally speaking isn't really indicative of what you'll get in the real world. The WLTP figure, which GWM says they don't have, would be more accurate. So I'm really interested to see what this does in a full run around town, a bit of highway work, what a regular Australian family would do with this car, and see how much electric range you actually get. And of course, I want to see how much fuel consumption this thing has when the battery runs flat also. But those are all questions that we need to answer a little bit further down the track. But I've got to say, considering the price, considering the level of inclusions that you get in this vehicle, and a 7-year warranty to back it all up, this does feel like a pretty good option, depending on getting a little bit more clarity on some of those other figures in terms of how this car goes on a flat battery and on a full electric run. But for GWM's first foray into plug-in hybrid power for a medium SUV, what could be a family car for a lot of Australian families, this does feel like a pretty solid first step. Now make sure you have subscribed to Drive on YouTube to see all of our upcoming videos. And of course, if you want to see the full story on this Haval H6 GT plug-in hybrid, head over to Drive.com.au. We've got every new car on the market there. And if you want to see a competitor to this vehicle, check out this video. It's somewhere up above my head here. That is the BYD Sea Lion 6. It's also a plug-in hybrid and it's also an SUV.